no community has a right to veto other people moving into their community.
No one has a veto over who lives in their community.
No one has a veto on who lives in an area.
Nobody does have a veto in terms of who lives within their neighbourhood.
None of us have a veto. None of us have a veto.
Calls for consultation can suggest that communities have a veto over who moves in, and that isn't right. And calls for consultation can even offer a platform to those who will never welcome inward migration.
It is not the position of the Labour Party that communities should be consulted, implying that they should have a veto.
You can't just give people a free rein and say, well, you're allowed veto an area, because that's suddenly taken over by those who simply don't want this to happen at all.
I think there's very few people I've spoken to in my constituency or elsewhere that has any want for a veto, and if he did, I'll be the first person to tell them they're not getting it.
I'm opposed to giving anyone or any group a veto over emergency refugee accommodation.
No community has the right to veto anybody living in their community, and when I talk about communication, it isn't, a dialogue or negotiations.
I would be quite concerned that the promises being made is exactly setting up a community veto on where any centre can open, where there will be akin to planning permissions, where a system will grind to a halt. That will be a disaster.
Here's the thing, there can be communication, there can be listening, there can be conversations and discussion, but there is no veto here, Claire. There cannot be vetoes.